Ruthless advice to get rich by 30 years old by wholesaling real estate. What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here.
Rick Ginn here.
And in today's video, we are giving you the honest truth, maybe the truth you don't want to hear, but the truth you need to hear on getting rich in wholesaling real estate. We're going to give you the fundamental ruthless truth and advice you need to do to get rich by wholesaling houses. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing we have to understand, and one thing I've been talking about for a while, but when you're starting out in wholesaling real estate, you are not going to have balance. It's going to be very tough. You're going to have to do a lot of work to get rich. But the one cool part about that is eventually you'll have a very large balance in your bank account. So the one thing we have to understand here is, yes, the ruthless truth about getting rich by 30 years old in wholesaling, maybe you're 25 now, maybe you're 20 right now. If you want to become a millionaire and change your life, it's going to be very difficult to have balance. It's going to be very difficult to keep things the same, but you have to change if you want to get rich.
You know, it's the honest to God truth. People talk about like you got a perfect balance in all areas. At some point in your life, your balance is going to be out of whack. And why not do it before 30 and go all in wholesaling and just load up your bank balance account? Because once you load up your bank balance account, that will actually help you teeter back and give you the tools, the options, the things you need, not only to grow your business, but to take care of your health, take care of the rest of your family. At some point, you do have to tip the scales. And why not do it while you're young? You have the energy and listen, 30 is very young in my opinion. I didn't go on this journey till after that. So go all in. Don't worry if you're somewhat tipped towards working a lot, because once you get that balance in your bank account, then you can use it as leverage to catapult every area in your life. So why we're talking about this area is you're going to have to be ruthless to yourself, because the reality at the end of the day, it's you and only you are going to be accountable for your actions. You can take advice, you can take feedback, and you've already understood by this point, getting other people's opinion or consent on what you're doing is a literally waste of your time, especially in wholesaling. So what you have to start out is with the truth. And if you can't have an honest conversation of where you are right now, like just take stock in where you are right now. If you're dead broke, be brutally honest with you. And then also go, okay, how did I get here? And you did here by buying things that made you look rich and it made you feel rich and it gave you instant gratification. So acknowledge it. And part of being ruthless with yourself, it goes, if I keep doing those things, I can only look rich and I'm never going to become rich. The real secret to becoming rich, especially by the time you're 30, is complete honesty with yourself. Once you know the truth, you can attack the problem. So if you're procrastinating, you're making excuses, just be accountable. Go, listen, I got to stop this and this is what I'm going to do going forward. And here's the deal. Hold yourself to the truth. So if you commit to doing 300 cold calls in the day and you only did 42, you just broke your own promise. And if you keep lying and you're not honest with yourself, there is no way to truly become rich, because you're going to spend all your energy trying to look rich. Listen, if you're going to choose the latter, learn to become rich, you've got to go all in. Be ruthless with yourself. Hold yourself accountable. How do you do it? Tell yourself the truth, and then don't break the promises to yourself. Because listen, if you're going to break a promise to yourself, it means you're going to do it with everybody else in your life. This is one of the secrets that you have to understand towards becoming rich, especially by the age of 30.
One thing you have to understand too is you have to kill your old self. And what do I mean by that? The old previous version of yourself that felt sorry for you, always was tired, always not had the energy to go out here and actually live their dreams. The old self that didn't commit to schedules or actually want to put in the hard work. You're going to have to destroy that old way of thinking and that old self that you were. You're a brand new person. You're actually going to go out here and make a great change in your life. And the best way to start is by destroying the old habits you had that have kept you honestly poor right now. You're going to have to make that change so you can get massively rich.
So the next thing you have to understand in this journey to become rich, especially by the age of 30, is nobody cares about your struggle. Honestly, outside of your own opinion, you just bore people with it. I know this is a ruthless truth, but it is the truth. When you go on the internet, when you go in front of other people, when you get on your phone and you start babbling to your friends, family, coworkers, other wholesalers going, it's so tough. This is so challenging. It's not fair. I'm in a saturated market. I'm in a too competitive market. Honestly, we can whip out the small violin and start playing it. Outside of you, nobody cares. And when you start complaining like this, people will tune you out because it's just your excuse. It's your interpretation. And honestly, it is a wedge between you and becoming wealthy. If you want an excuse, everybody can find an excuse. I've never met someone that cannot find an excuse. If you truly want to become rich, you have to lose your excuse train. Stop whining about it. Everybody has obstacles in front of me. I have them. Zach has them. You You have them. Everybody watching this video has them. And once you understand, if we all cry about our problems, we're never going to get anything done. So what you need to do is focus on solutions and fixing your problems. And crying is nothing more than excuses, and excuses leads to procrastination, and it leads to massive failure. So just stop it. Have your little pity party inside, write it down on paper if it's bothering you, journaling it, and then look at it 24 hours later and say, listen, did this truly affect my life? Am I making an excuse? Is it really a valid problem? And then if it's a valid problem, then you can proceed to get help and advice on how to attack it from people that actually understand how to do it. Honestly, guys, most of your whining and crying is just a procrastination excuse. And if you get rid of that, you'll find out how productive you'll actually become. Don't fall for this trap. Stop crying about things that nobody else cares about outside of you. It's a you problem. And once you work it from the inside out, then you can talk to people about how can I get more marketing? How can I get a better list? But if I go to Zach and go, listen, I was so saturated in my market, I can't get it done. He's just going to give me the same sourpuss face that you gave him. Find solutions. Stop crying. This you cannot negotiate with.
Exactly. So when you give an excuse out that, oh, I couldn't do the drawing for dollars leads I had to do today, or I couldn't get the list, or I couldn't cold call, it's going to go on deaf ears. No one's going to care. You get rich, no one's going to care. You get poor, you stay poor, no one's going to care. Use it as motivation. Use it as something comforting, like, hey, nobody cares. I'm going to go out here and make the change. Ruthless rule number 1 to get rich by 30. 6 days of your week must be planned out by the minute for the 16 hours you're awake. What do I mean by this? When you're awake right now for 6 days, you need to have your entire schedule set out. We are going to stop dilly-dallying throughout the day and doing what we feel like. What we're going to do instead is do things that are planned. Once you start planning out your days for the 6 days that you have, I'll give the 7th day off, but for the 6 days, for the 16 hours you're awake, you have to have it scheduled out. Oh, but sometimes I like to just sit around and watch TV. No. That time is spent towards working. That time is spent towards pulling lists, texting, cold calling, networking, talking to motivated sellers. This is a non-negotiable. You have to set out and plan your day. Now, heck, you have dinner, you're hanging out with friends or family. That's fine. Schedule that in though. That extra time in between, you're scrolling on your phone, you're on TikTok, whatever. No, that time is spent for wholesaling real estate. We're not going to go steal that time that you could be using to get you and your family rich. We're going to use that for actually getting rich in wholesaling real estate.
Rule number 2, 80% of your waking hours need to be attributed towards income producing activities. Why? Because it's going to commit you and force you to take actions that actually make a difference in the income in your life. Within a 24-hour day, that's going to equate to about 13 hours. Like, honestly, you want to be ruthless, you want to get rich, this is what you have to do. How do you do it? You're going to spend most of your time. The only light activity is just pulling lists. After that, you are on the phone, you're either on appointments or you're out driving for dollars, doing reverse driving for dollars. Count the 13 hours, okay? I'm not talking about like preparing, going out the door. Guys, this is what needs to be done, because once you do it and you force yourself to do it, it's going to force you to do things that are going to drive the income in your business. And like, if you don't force it, the reality is most of you sit around like, I need to call. No, don't need to call. Either call, get in your car, go meet with people, go sign contracts, do whatever you got to do. This doesn't count title company time, anything like that. Whatever is going to produce is going to connect you with a motivated seller and producing a contract. This is what you need to do. Do not waver on this. 80%, 6 days a week. I'm serious about this. Remember, you need to do what others aren't willing to do. This is the secret. This is one of the rules that it's going to be required for you to become massively rich by age 30.
Rule number 3, you need to be boring to your friends and family. What do I mean by this? What I mean is when you're talking with your friends, you're talking to your family, and they're saying, what's going on with you? What are you doing? All these things. You're going to have to be boring. And what I mean by that is you're not taking crazy trips. You're not going out to the bars every weekend. You're not going to karaoke every day. You're working. And working hard is very boring when you're talking to your friends and family, but you are going to have to be boring. But once you are boring for a certain amount of time, you work hard, then you can get rich. And when you're rich, you can go jet ski and fish and do all the fun, crazy, jazzy stuff that's going to be exciting. But being broke is also super boring. Yeah, you can't do the 2 days a week usually out, but eventually you just stay boring, you work hard, and eventually you get rich. I know this is a really underrated concept, but be boring to your friends and family. Oh, Zach, he's always working. He's always keeping it up. That's all he does. Boring, boring, boring. But guess what? That eventually will lead to you getting rich, and that's the main goal here in the video.
Okay, rule number 4, wake up knowing exactly what you're you're doing for the day from the minute you get out of bed. You see, if you don't plan your day, I promise you, the rest of the world will plan it for you. Here's the biggest secret to it. You have to structure your day at minimum the day before. And then once you do the day before, then you got to do the next 2 days. And then you got to get at least a week, 2 weeks, a month ahead of it. And then you got to have quarterly and yearly goals. The reality is most of you are waking up every day just doing whatever your boss tells you to do, and just you react to everything. This is why you don't get stuff done. So if you set a discipline the day before minimum, and then once you do 2 to 3 days before, start working the week out, then you can work the month out and then the quarter and so on and so on. Because the reality is either you go out and get what you want and plan to get it, or the rest of the world will set the schedule for you and you'll be like everybody else and you won't get anything done. You have to plan your day out. There should not be a ton of random stuff going on. This will stop you from taking that hour-long call from like your long past friends. Finish your job, finish your income producing activities like we talked about earlier. And then when you have free time, go ahead and make those calls. But you got to get down to business, plan your day, or your day will be planned for you.
Ruthless rule number 5, go through all of freewholesaling.com. No excuses, no, you go through the entire course. Y'all go binge through all of Stranger Things and Breaking Bad and Sopranos, but you'll go cherry pick inside of freewholesaling.com. Guess what happens if I want to go watch Breaking Bad and decide I want to watch season 1? I'm going to skip season 2 and 3, go watch 4, and then maybe 1 episode of 5 and be like, you're not going to understand the plot. Things are going, there's new characters, all these. Why are you doing anything different in freewholesaling.com? Go through the entire thing. Don't skip an episode. Don't skip a video. Don't cherry pick which ones feel good or not. You have to do this in freewholesaling.com. Go through the entire course. I'm telling you, do it. You'll get more knowledge and you'll know exactly the knowledge to get rich in wholesaling real estate.
Rule number 6, never go against the rules in freewholesaling.com. Listen, they're there for a reason. There is 27 years plus combined experience between both of us. Honestly, I already know what's going to happen before it happens. If you follow the advice and the rules, it's there to protect you and actually lead you towards success. If you want to filter them and like adapt them and make this change and that, you're going to have pain in wholesaling. Listen to the advice. The rules are there to protect you and help you be successful. If you don't follow them, you're going to have problems. Pay attention to the rules inside of freewholesaling.com. They're there for you.
That's it. Cash buyers, how to talk to sellers, conditioning your sellers. There's really basic rules we have in freewholesaling.com, and you go against those rules, you usually get burned. That's why we don't need to get burned. Go through the rules, go through the course, and it'll help you out greatly. And then Ruthless Rule 7. Don't ever make excuses for any of rules 1 through 6. That's it. Guys, we're really big on making no excuses because excuses are going to stop you from getting rich. Do not make excuses of why you can't do 1 through 6. Why can't I make a schedule? But you don't understand. No, I'm being ruthless to you right now. I don't care. You need to follow this advice to a T if you want to get rich. This is the advice that got me rich, that got you rich, that you can go out here and do it. If you're actually going to follow this plan, go to freewholesaling.com, make a game plan, schedule out everything you need to do, work your butt off, work hard, and don't give up. You become a rich wholesaler by the age of 30. Guys, if you're ready to get rich, go to freewholesaling.com or Free Wholesaling Course. If you got any value from this video, do me a favor, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. This is Zach Ginn signing out.
Rick Ginn signing out.
Have a blessed one.
See you guys.